Welcome to a very special edition of the Neville Goddard Podcast. This is our first guest ever. Q, who joined us in Triple D a long time ago after waiting a long time to join, joins me today over a cup of coffee. And you might even hear the bird song in the background, I'm not sure. But this is raw, this is unedited, and I want you to listen to where Q is coming from. Because where he's coming from is quite delightful. And I want that to grow in you too. It's all about freedom, gang. Thanks for listening. And thank you, Q, for sharing a cup of coffee with me this morning. Let's dive in.
So let me ask, how did you find us? I mean, you came to us some time ago. How did you find us?
Well, when I got sober, someone at an AA meeting suggested that I do some research into philosophy and all that stuff because I was a reader. And that sent me down some really weird rabbit holes.
Right.
Twists and turns and going down and everything. And eventually I got a YouTube recommendation that was Neville Goddard. And so I listened to that and I thought, well, this is interesting if it's true. And I got to the point where I thought Neville was a lot like a lot of the other teachers, a lot of the other thought, schools of thought. And then I got to the point where I realized he was different. And so I started looking up teachers of Neville Goddard. And I joined some Facebook groups, and a podcast of yours came across. And I listened to this guy, 2020. That was kind of a weird name, but I thought, but whatever, And quite frankly, I wasn't ready to hear what you were saying. I didn't want to hear it. It was, it was straightforward and called bullshit what was bullshit. So I set you aside for a couple weeks, and I kept with these teachers that were teaching batshit crazy. And then another podcast popped up on my Facebook feed of yours, and I didn't listen to it. I was like, I don't want to listen to this guy. I want to do my thing. So then another couple weeks went by, and then another podcast of yours popped up through my newsfeed. And I was like, okay, I will listen to this. And by then, I was really tired of the hit or miss that I had with these other teachers. And I could just tell with the way that you spoke on this podcast, and this was several years ago, that you had something that the others didn't. You had experience. Some of them had experience in one thing or another, and they just kind of ran with it. And then they would go off on these other things. And you just were like, look, listen, this is what it is. And I was ready for that then.
Yeah, nice.
So then I joined the LOA group and listened to several more podcasts. And you kept talking about manifesting mastery. And I was like, okay, well, this is what this guy put together, and I'll check it out. So I think it was a week after I was introduced to your podcast that I got MM. And so that's how I was introduced to you guys. So within a week, I dove in.
So eventually you took Dream Driven Day.
Yep.
And I gotta ask, did you hesitate?
Yes. Yeah, I hesitated with Triple D, because when I first heard, and I think it was on your Feel It Real Fun show, about Triple D, I was like, well, that sounds good, but I'm kind of just in survival mode right now. I'm only a couple years sober, and I still have financial problems, and my ex-wife just like, I don't know, 6 months before that, told us of the terminal cancer that she had. And so I was like, no, I got other problems. I got other things. And I don't know what I would focus on. Like, I don't have a dream right now. My dream is just to get by. And so
That
I
is
didn't join.
that is so gold. I gotta just stop you for 1 second because I've been there. My dream was just to get by. My dream was to actually make it through the freaking day.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. Keep going.
I was there, and I was like, I didn't really. I was honest with myself when I heard about Triple D. I was like, I kind of did the lessons of MM. I should probably really knuckle down and do like the exercises that are 3 a day. I should do the 3 a day, not just do it once. Because I did that a bunch. I did do some 3 a day, but mostly the first time through, I would listen to the recording and do the exercise right then, and then I wouldn't do the another 2 times. And so I didn't really throw myself into that, and I thought maybe I should do that. So I had downloaded every single lesson to my computer, and so I just did Manifesting Mastery again. And by the time I was done with that, I heard about, I don't know if it was the second or third Triple D at that point. And I was like, no, I don't know. I still don't have a dream. I don't know. And eventually, you guys were just talking about it like you do on your Feel It Real show. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let this go by. So I got it. I got into Triple D.
I'm not going to let this go by. You drew the line in the sand. Well, let me ask, how's your life different? You've dove in. We've become friends. You understand that you got 2 minutes thing. We get to chat. Whenever it works for both of us.
Right.
How's your life different since diving in?
Well, I reignited my dream of being an author.
Have you done any?
What?
So you reignited that dream. Have you done any writing at all?
Before that, no. Just here and there, little short stories or parts of stories.
How about now?
Now I have 17 books self-published on Amazon.
Nice.
Four of them novels that are fiction. One of them a shorter novella. So 5 fiction, and then I think I've got 8 that are based on the work that I've dove into with you.
Right.
And a couple of memoirs.
Nice.
So that's different because when I was in Triple D, that reignited. I wanted to be published. And then I was thinking traditional publishing with a book and a book deal and a publisher and all that. But by the time I was done with Triple D, I was pretty much done with that idea too. And this is in a span of 6 weeks that I got my dream, realized publishing, and realized self-publishing. I'll just do it myself. All within that span.
You drive the bus. You own your day. You determine your destiny.
That's right. Because, quite frankly, the idea of putting together query letters to agents and then waiting for them, and just based on the query letter, if they'd even respond to me.
So you learn to never do anything that's going to cause that clusterfuck in your brain.
Right, because they're rejecting the query letter. They're not really rejecting me. It could just be, no, I'm not looking for this at this point. But at the same time, I got good shit, and I got good shit to say and to put out there, and to let someone be the gatekeeper of that just wasn't my thing anymore. Dude. So with Triple D and diving in with you, I learned the importance of speed. So, I got it done, and then I contacted someone who is in the LOA group to do the first couple covers of my first couple books. And then I got a program and learned to do it myself because I didn't want to wait for someone to do the covers of my books either. So
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
And you just said it again. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've also learned through the past few years, I don't have to wait, but I don't have to force either. Because if I force, manifesting is a lot like a fart. If you gotta force it, it's probably shit. So, I mean,
I request that you put an infographic up on that. Beautiful. And it really is this visceral, isn't it? Because I love that you brought up batshit crazy earlier, because when people go into batshit crazyville, they use all these weird words and analogies and stuff. But whenever you really get down to it, manifesting is like taking a shit, or manifesting is like having a fart. If you got to force it, you're going to turn to shit. And it's these, and that's how real it can be. If you really want real results, just stick with that.
Yep. And that was one of the things that I honed in on with that podcast that finally got through to me, was like, this guy just lets it be real. Because I listened to these other guys, and it was like two different playing fields. Actually, it wasn't even the same game.
So let me ask, if someone was considering Triple D or MM right now, what would you tell them?
I'd tell them dive in. I'd tell them the investment in you is beyond what you would ever pay. Because that Triple D, that can give you your life back. And MM, you dive in and you play with that gives you freedom. That's what I would say. Because it does. And I've been at home for 2 years now because of a health issue. And it finally hit me probably 2 weeks ago. I don't have to be a hostage to my health. I could be home. And I loved how you said it in, I think, a podcast. It's not reframing, because reframing sucks, because it's not positive thinking. Because I'm positive, I don't want to be sick. That's my positive thinking. But if I feel it real, that I'm home because I'm a man of leisure and I don't have to work, that's different.
You're taking that physical circumstance and using that to anchor and build upon.
Yes.
You're just like the card system. Beautiful.
Yes, that's exactly. I think it was a couple weeks ago I heard that podcast and I started thinking about it, and it just hit me out of the blue. And I just think to those other teachers, and if I hadn't dove in, I would have never gotten to this point. I'd still be, I don't know, spinning out of control. I don't know.
I tell you what, that's brilliant, because I never even thought to ask, what do you think your life would be like if you didn't?
Oh, it would be spinning for sure. And I know of spinning right now. So, but yeah, because I've also, from diving in and playing, I can direct, but I don't have to be in control of everything. I don't have to micromanage. I can just set the intention and let it go. And that's taken a little bit of time and a little bit of diving in. But at the same time, I just said spinning out of control, but I just direct. And I don't have to micromanage. I don't have to worry about all the little things that add up to it, which is freeing, actually.
A phrase that I stole from a friend of mine, since you brought it up, and given my personal history, it's "we free hostages."
Right.
When you become the gatekeeper of your own life, like we explored in Remarkable, that whole thing with Simon Peter is the gatekeeper. Simon Peter only lets in the honorable, the dignified. Whenever that's the only thing you let in, there's you being the gatekeeper of your life. There's you no longer being a hostage behind the gate. That's you being free. Yeah. I'm going to stop it here, so because the podcast tends to be about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
And I want to thank you. Any last minute thoughts you want to toss in for the game?
I would say dive in, do the lessons, do the shit, and have the power, man. Be the power.
Beauty. Thanks, Q.
Yep, no problem.
May you have a lovely day.
You as well, TT.
I'll catch you in the chat, buddy. See ya.
All right, bye.
Thank you.